Here we are, live and in effect this Thursday night. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone who is here. And Michael is not broken, so I'm not sure what you're talking about, Vagabond. I am in effect. And what I'd like everyone to think about tonight is the fact that it's already December 17th, 2020. We're almost done with 2020. And there's this fad in the past few years of, sort of like liking certain years and hating other years and saying how bad the year was and all that. But, in a way, there's no such thing as a year. It's just all one day that just keeps happening, right? Days and weeks and months and years are just scales of human time. And in fact, it's all just one continuous thing. And so notice how time is a construction that your mind is doing. And in fact, look into the block universe theory of time, in which, the universe is like a four-dimensional block in which everything, past and future, is all present at once, right? And it's just our way of dealing with a four-dimensional block that turns it into us traveling along in three dimensions along the fourth dimensional timeline, right? So with that, let us begin meditating. Now tonight, instead of talking about bodhicitta, which is a Buddhist concept, and in fact, a Mahayana Buddhist concept, and, we rouse bodhicitta and all that, we're going to do kind of the same thing. But in a Western psychological way. So, what I want you to do is just think of your most deep, wisest, most compassionate personality, the sub-personality, the part of you that just feels like wise and compassionate. The one that knows how to meditate and is responsible for like your best sits. And I just want you to bring that sub-personality forward. Like just think about it for a minute and then bring forward the confident, wise, compassionate meditator, right? So let go of the worrier and the doubter and the, let's say, distracted one or the one that wants to watch Mandalorian or whatever. They can come out later to play, but for right now, you're going to bring forward your most brilliant, wise, compassionate meditator personality. Very competent, very clean, very clear, right? We all have one of those, and I want you to just bring it forward into like the executive, so it's in charge right now. And just sit with that for a moment, feeling that sense of confidence and that sense of clarity and that sense of compassion. So these are the 3 C's for tonight's meditation: confidence, clarity, and compassion. So bring those up and feel those very, 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 very clearly. Because that's always how we start our meditation. When you're not watching one of these videos, if you're meditating on your own, still begin every meditation. First, you get in your posture, which, I've described enough times that I'm not going to do it right now, but you get in a very nice posture, very upright, very alert, very relaxed. So start out getting in the posture, and then just bring up this sense of confidence, this sense of clarity, this sense of compassion, right? And bring it forward so it's in, as we would say, in the executive, it's in the driver's seat of like who's doing the meditation. And it might take a moment. You might be in essentially a different mood. And so you just move that mood aside and bring this other mood, which again, in a Buddhist context, we would call bodhicitta, right? But in this context, we'll just say confidence, clarity, compassion, that sense that you really, really know how to meditate and you're excited to meditate. And you have this sense that it's not only going to help you, but it's going to help everyone you run into all day long, which it is. So now that you've got your posture correct and you've got yourself with the good, the powerful, wise, deep meditator, subpersonality driving the boat, because in Buddhism it's always a boat that we're using to cross the ocean of samsara. Then we begin to meditate. So let's go ahead and begin to do shamatha, particularly shamatha with an object. So remember, if you haven't done this before, in shamatha with an object, we are focusing on something and using that to become clearer, using that to become more settled. Okay. And traditionally in a lot of these Buddhist meditation worlds, you would take something like a rock or a stick. So we'll just take this pen, and no, I'm not going to take the pen apart and do the emptiness demonstration, the rather unconvincing emptiness demonstration. Instead, I will say that a really typical thing to do is take a simple object and you set it in front of you. I'm going to try to do this so you can see it in the screen. And then with your eyes open, you just stare at it. And you use that to get your attention stable. Just literally just looking at an external object. Okay, and then if you want to, once you've stared at it for a while, you close your eyes and then see it in your mind's eye as clearly as you can. This is like the after image in your mind. And then when that fades, you get distracted, you come back and just look at the object again. And you just do that continuously, okay? That's a really, really, really easy way to get concentrated. You can use something simple, a rock, a stick, a little crystal or something, if you like that kind of thing. But something simple. You're not trying to think about it or get any symbolic value out of it. You're just essentially borrowing its stability. And you're borrowing its stability to give your mind stability. Okay. Now, of course, we all know there's impermanence. We know there's emptiness. So things aren't really stable on a deep level. You don't want to make the mistake of thinking that the object is truly stable. But conventionally speaking, it's stable enough so that your mind is, in essence, to talk about it kind of metaphorically, borrowing its stability. So you're just gazing upon this object and you keep bringing your mind back to it. And that's going to help you get nice and focused, right? Because the object is just sitting there. And so if we're conventionally seeing its stability, that stability is bringing our mind stability. So we're gazing upon it and we're allowing our mind to come back to it over and over. We're not thinking anything about it. We're not, trying to figure it out or see anything cool about it. That's not the idea. We're just using it as almost like a post that we're tying the very skittish horse of our mind to. And over time, the skittish horse of the mind tied to the post will just relax. Okay? So just gaze upon an object if you want to, and borrow its stability. Or you can, as usual, feel your breath moving in and out, breath going all the way in, breath going all the way out. whatever object you want to use. That's why, I'm always calling these shamatha with an object because we're using an object, but you can also call it shamatha with support. Why? Because this is your support. It's supporting the stability of the mind, right? Again, remembering that, of course, things aren't really stable on a deep level. They're impermanent and empty, but in a conventional way, probably this pen isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Although I lose pens really, really all the time. So maybe it's less stable than I think, but hopefully, at least for the next few minutes, it will stay here. And I can just gaze upon it and use that as something to bring my mind back to over and over. Now, I'm not drilling a hole in it with a laser beam of my eyes. I'm just gazing upon it just enough that it gives me something to bring my awareness back to over and over and stabilize. Okay, so let's just do that for a minute. I'm going to use the breath, but you can use an object if you wish. You don't want it to be too close, probably like arm's length away. Doesn't really matter, but not across the room or something. Okay, let's just do this for a few minutes. Now continuing to use your focus object to borrow a little stability and allow your mind to settle. In the background, I'll guide you through some relaxation, like I always do. So you're just going to let all the tension drain out of your body, all the tension everywhere in the body draining away, draining out of the body into the earth, leaving the body refreshed and alert and awake. And as you're focusing now, allow your forehead and your eyebrows to relax and all the little muscles around your eyes to release and relax and let go. And even your eyes themselves just relax. And your cheeks and your lips and your mouth let go. And your jaw opens enough that your upper and lower teeth are not touching. And the tongue is just floating in the mouth like a happy blue whale off the coast of Catalina Island. And the whole face and head is just feeling buoyant and light and relaxed. And you notice that your level of wakefulness goes up just a little bit. The level of clarity and wakefulness increases. And then your throat relaxes and lets go, and your neck muscles release all tension draining away and relaxing and letting go. And your shoulders release and open and rotate down and back so that your chest is just slightly more open, but you can tell it's just feeling even better, even more open, even more released, even more at rest. And that stream of relaxation allows your arms to just turn to jelly and your hands turn to jelly so that they're completely relaxed. There's no tension of any kind in the arms and hands. All remaining tension drains away, drains away. And as your arms and hands and shoulders and neck and face feel so nice, so released, so relaxed, just that kind of almost like a baby level of relaxation that you've always wanted, with no tension, no tightness, but rather a sense of total release, total opening. You just kind of drop into a deeper sense of opening, of the mind calming way down, while the awareness grows even brighter and clearer. The clarity becomes clearer. And you feel a sense of stillness and a sense of peace pervading the body that is very, very nice. And then any tension in the chest and upper back drains away. Any tension in the diaphragm region and the belly and the kidney region and back all drains away. And even tension in the pelvic region drains away. Any discomfort, any sense of not feeling well anywhere in the torso just drains away, drains away. Letting go of that completely, letting go. And now you notice that there's this sense of opening and of releasing and of relaxing, pervading the torso and the belly and the pelvic region. With each breath growing deeper and deeper, with each breath becoming clearer and brighter, so that it's not only deeply relaxed, it's also clear and bright and crisp and very awake. And now just notice that with each breath, you're relaxing more, relaxing more, relaxing more, and then you can feel it coming. There's a wave of relaxation that just allows you to now just kind of sink into a much, much, much deeper sense of stillness and peace and bright, clear, radiant wakefulness. That feels so good. And you notice that the last bits of tension are draining out of your legs and feet, last bits of discomfort draining away, draining away. And then your legs and feet just turn to jelly, just completely letting go of any tension. And they too come into an incredibly deep, open, relaxed place, so that the whole body is suffused with letting go. The whole body is suffused with openness and lightness. The whole body feels clear and bright, crisp, clean, open, sharp, very relaxed. With each in-breath, you feel yourself getting more awake, brighter, clearer, With each out breath, you feel yourself letting go and becoming more and more relaxed until eventually you just notice yourself coming to a place where you just drop very, very deep into complete stillness. And the stillness is not constrained or tight. It is completely loose, completely relaxed, completely open, utterly at peace, utterly calm and clear and bright. And from here, we let go of the support, we let go of feeling the breath, we let go of looking at an object. And instead, we now bring this level of relaxation, this almost newborn baby who's asleep level of relaxation to the mind. Even though the mind is very clear, very bright, very awake, it's grabbing onto nothing. It's just aware and awake. But if you notice the mind holding on to something with attention, just relax, let go of that tension, let the mind release and relax and open. So that the mind is not actually focusing on anything and not paying attention to anything. You remain completely uninvolved. You allow the awareness to simply be aware. And notice that awareness is aware with no effort of any kind. It's already aware without any effort. Don't have to make any effort to breathe. Don't have to make any effort to pay attention. Just be aware. Just be. Each time the mind habitually grabs onto something, trying to pay attention, just relax. Don't get involved with that thing. We're not paying attention to anything. If the mind keeps grabbing onto something, don't fight it. Don't get even more tense by trying to pull it off. Just relax, just open. If this is too hard, if your mind keeps getting involved with content, go back to doing shamatha with an object. Go back to looking at your pen or observing the breath or whatever. Don't spend a whole bunch of time distracted. But if you are able to just keep the mind relaxed and open, utterly uninvolved with anything, but simply resting in its own awareness, that's what we want here. This is shamatha without an object. This is relaxed awareness with no object of attention at all. And if you start getting sleepy, make sure you sit up straight, maybe open your eyes, but don't let yourself just sit there sleeping. That's not good. Or getting dull. Remember that we stay very awake, very alert during this meditation. It's both tremendously relaxing, but also very, very awakening. So we want both of those features present. We're not just kind of drifting into a mushy haze of dullness. If you are, wake up. Just letting the mind relax to this tremendously deep level so that the body relaxation and the mind relaxation become just one very profound letting go, tremendously deep letting go. The body is not tight, the mind is not tight. The system is open and relaxed, awake and alert, clear and bright. Good. Now, being a little more active again, I want you to just allow the sense of awareness to move, to expand outside the body. And notice you don't really have to do anything, just engage slightly and just allow the sense of awareness to expand outside of the body. And feel what we might call the energy of the body or the energy body within awareness. So awareness is outside the body and feel the energy body within awareness. And notice that you're not inside the body, somehow noticing this awareness outside the body and then feeling the energy. You're the awareness, right? So the awareness is larger than the body, outside the body, and everywhere inside awareness, you can feel wakefulness, brightness, clarity, but also you can feel the sense of the energy of the body inside awareness, inside you. The body is just some sensations arising within awareness, and the sense of the energy of the body or the energy body is speedier sensations inside awareness, or faster or more vibratory sensations inside awareness. Now I want you to imagine that on the in-breath, the energy from all around is being drawn into the body in a pleasant and helpful way. And then in the out-breath, it is going into the central channel, up inside the spine. The central channel's inside the spine like a straw. So on the in-breath, energy comes into the body from all around, and then in the out-breath, it goes up the central channel. So from bottom to top. Rushes in from all around on the in-breath, and then kind of goes up this tube in the spine all the way to the top of the head on the out-breath. Just visualizing this, you'll notice it feels really good. And on that in-breath, again, this is just a visualization. The energy can go in everywhere in the body, like every pore in the body. It doesn't have to go in your nose. This is energy. This is a visualization, so we can make it do whatever we want. So it's just permeating through every part of the body, in, and then it gathers and goes up the central channel. As it goes up the central channel, it brings not only complete stillness to the mind, but also tremendous clarity, tremendous wakefulness to the mind and entire being. Remember, we're not doing this forcefully or in any intense way. We're just letting it be peaceful, letting it be gentle, but feeling that very pleasant energy going up the central channel. Notice as you're doing this that the sense of energy all around the body is getting brighter and brighter and clearer. More vibratory, more subtle. The mind becoming fantastically still, fantastically clear, absolutely pleasant, nothing intense. Just continuing to notice, breathing in energy from all around, and then the energy moves up the central channel. That's it. Now, as it comes out the top of the central channel, notice or visualize that it's like kind of a fan, a rainbow colored fan, a cauda pavonis, peacock's tail, this like rainbow. It can be small, it doesn't have to be large, but just a little rainbow fan there in the mind. Incredibly beautiful. Each color like it's jewels or candy, bright, very, very lucid and liquid light, rainbow color there. Continuing to breathe in energy from all around. And then on the out breath, sending it up the central channel very, very gently, very sweetly, softly. And then noticing how it becomes this beautiful rainbow in the mind. Shimmering, glistening, radiating rainbow light in the mind. Now the bottom of the central channel moves upward into the heart, and the rainbow light top of the central channel moves down into the heart, so that all the energy now is gathering at the heart. So when you breathe in, energy comes from all directions directly into the heart, increasing its clarity and its brightness. And on the out breath, the energy radiates back out of the heart, clearer and brighter, and more peaceful and loving and relaxed. So it's as if it's just a giant sphere or jewel heart breathing in energy and breathing out energy in all directions simultaneously. And now the rainbow light is making the sphere in the heart. So it's like a circle or a sphere of rainbow light in the heart. Beautiful, lucid, clear, gem-like, luminous colors. And now all the rainbow colors mix and it becomes a very, very pleasant, very lovely white light radiating in the heart, radiating in all directions, self-luminous, utterly clear and bright. And now the size of the light is growing smaller and smaller, but the light is getting brighter and brighter. So it's becoming a little dot of tremendously super bright light in the heart. And then it simply dissolves and is utterly gone. And the mind dissolves, and the body dissolves, and the world dissolves. And then we come back to just awareness of awareness, doing nothing, simply allowing consciousness to rest as consciousness without getting involved in anything at all. No activity of any kind, just awake, just relaxed and aware, utterly at ease, utterly still. Tremendously awake, utterly relaxed, not involved with anything. utterly awake, like a Buddha. What does the word Buddha mean? The word Buddha means awake, utterly relaxed and open, clear, clean, bright wakefulness. Tremendously still. Good. Let's let go of that now. As we end the meditation, allow yourself to slowly, slowly, slowly move and stretch. Breathe deep, wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe yawn, do a big up stretch, raw. Shake out your shoulders. Maybe have a drink of water. As we end the meditation and shift gears into the Dharma Talk / Q&A section. So I'm going to be talking here for a little while, and during this time, of course, if you have questions or comments, feel free to put those in the chat window, and I will eventually get to those at some point here. Let's quickly go over the thing I was saying about, concentrating on a visual object when we're doing shamatha with an object. So again, you've got something here and you put it about 1 arm's length away. It's got to be big enough to see. You can use something really simple like a quarter or, a pen or, like I said, a rock or a stick, whatever's handy. Shouldn't really have visible words. Shouldn't be something super suggestive of something. It's just there because it's physical and tends to stay pretty still. And the idea is, like I said, that we are, in essence, borrowing its stability. We're using it as a support for our mind. And it's really easy. You just sit and gaze at it. But if you want to do the harder version, you gaze at it for a while and then close your eyes and continue to see it. Continue to see it, continue to see it. You can even see the after image. Continue to see it, continue to see it. And then eventually, it keeps going, but eventually it will fade, and then you come back and stare at it again. So you can either do the all the time external version where you're just gazing upon it, or you can do the harder version where you gaze upon it and then close your eyes and see it in your mind until it vanishes, and then you do it again. Now, some of you might be going, wait a minute, Michael, that sounds a lot like the fire casino practice I've heard about before. And guess what? It is. It's just not using fire. We can use any object to do casino practice. So it's not casino practice when we're just looking at it, but I guess it is actually. That's the casino. But then eventually you can take it into your mind or look at the after image and just see that and go back and forth and back and forth. And that's going to, you can do that for a long time. It will make your concentration tremendously intense, tremendously bright. Okay, you can use any old object. Stare at this, It doesn't have to be a fire or water or something. It doesn't have to be elemental like that. It can just be any old thing. And if you've never practiced like that before, for some people, it is tremendously easier than trying to meditate on your breath. Not for everybody, but for some people. So find out if you're one of those people, because if you ever have trouble concentrating or you ever feel like your mind is bouncing around, try this, gaze at an object. And if that's working, then gaze at it and then close your eyes and gaze at the after image. And just keep doing that, just keep doing that. If you get good at that and you want to try something even harder, something we've done on in these meditations before, then you leave out the physical object altogether and you just visualize something. Now, we eventually did that, when we were, for example, having a light in the heart or a rainbow in the mind or whatever. That's just pure visualization, right? And so to keep a visualization like that in mind takes tremendous stability. And notice at that point, you're not borrowing the stability, the pseudo-stability from an external object, right? You're using the own stability, the already existing stability of your mind to kind of like keep that in place. Now, notice we did that after the shamatha with an object, because that stilled us very, very much. And then you bring it back together to do this like energy visualization, and it should be really, really powerful. You want to be careful with those. Don't try to build up the energy unless you're working directly with a teacher. Instead, just feel the energy, let it be calm and beautiful, not like super intense, because that can get kind of crazy. So yeah, you let it, but seeing those visualizations is going to make the mind even more stable, even more clear. If you do it over months and weeks and months of practice, just visualizing an object in your mind, it will start to purify consciousness more and more deeply. And you can even do things like go back and forth between shamatha without an object, just open, empty, awareness of awareness, and then come into doing a visualization. Gets really, really, really clear. And then always make sure you just allow the visualization to break up into empty nothingness. And then if you want to, you can be done, or you could come back to shamatha without an object, just open awareness. The idea is, as we're working with the mind like this, allowing the mind to get concentrated, to be totally unconcentrated in this other way, we're kind of purifying awareness. We're purifying the dross out of awareness, making things, you'll see, theoretically, we can't make awareness any more aware. It's already the awareness of a fully awake Buddha. It doesn't get more aware. But we can make it clearer, because just like the sun can be obscured by clouds, and we could gradually kind of like use wind or something to blow the clouds away, the sun would get clearer. As we're doing these kind of exercises, we're removing the impurities from the mind, and the natural clarity will come forward. The clarity will come forward and be ultra clear. And that's why visualizing that stuff is helpful. It's not only allowing you to clarify, but it's showing you the clarity, right? It becomes more and more powerful and beautiful. We just go back and forth in various ways. So we've got a number of questions coming in, so I'm going to switch to a Q&A, for which I need my reading glasses. So let's see what's going on here. Your leg fell asleep. Lots of stuff might fall asleep in your body. That's okay. Don't move it. Just let it be still until the meditation is done. Then you move it and give yourself 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes for the blood to, not the blood, for the pressure on the nerve to relieve, and eventually you'll be able to feel your leg again, and then you can move. What's the best way for dealing with physical pain that comes up during meditation? The usual thing we do is, with physical pain, is we do vipassana with it, right? We connect with the physical pain directly, not denying it, not trying to control it, not trying to make it go away, not trying to change it, but simply being with it. And we notice its impermanence and its emptiness, seeing it moving and changing, seeing it dissolving, seeing it coming back together, and just the fact that it is completely insubstantial, so that this thing that seemed to be this sharp or solid or tight or very clear object is demonstrated to be a dissolving, empty, open, non-object, right? And at that point, it becomes very interesting, because even though the pain is still there, usually it might fade and just disappear. But if it doesn't, and it's still there, it will be there, but it will also be empty. It will also be, in a way, nebulous or ephemeral. That's really interesting. So give that a shot. Pain makes a very easy object to focus upon, because it kind of grabs your attention. But we don't want to be reifying it. We don't want to focus in such a way that it makes me over here making a sharp object of pain over there, but instead almost allow awareness to become fused with the pain and inside the pain, and begin to notice how the pain is more like a moving energy that keeps arising and vanishing and turning into waves and so on. That's how you want to work with that. It will become very powerful and also bring a lot of relief. Ramana Rao says, perhaps off topic, but a curiosity, when you're guiding through the meditation, are you experiencing it the same as you're intending us to? Well, no, because I am guiding the meditation, and that takes me doing a lot more than I'm expecting you to do, right? I have to be kind of leading a process. And so I'm also tuning into what's going on. So I'm partially doing the meditation and partially guiding the meditation. So it's a little different. Unmanifest says, thank you, fun and effective meditations. Thank you. I always like feedback. Shamatha without objects becomes every moment of life. Yeah, I mean, but what we will notice is that awareness of awareness is happening behind or within or around or as part of every moment of life, for sure, right? That's just the awareness that's always there. So it can't actually go anywhere. It can't actually change. And as you get into it very, very, very deeply, you will start to notice that sometimes you're even aware while you're dreaming. And then much more rarely, you'll start to notice that sometimes there's even some part of you that's aware while you're all the way asleep without dreams. And when I used to hear teachers say that, I thought that they were either talking about something tremendously esoteric and like super weird that required some kind of super special training, or that was enigmatic to the point of they're just trying to sound like Mystery Men or something. Great movie, by the way, Mystery Men. But then when it started happening to me, I realized that it's not mysterious in the way I mean. It's not like intentionally mysterious. And it's also not like super special technique or something. In a way, it's the opposite. It's just demonstrating that awareness is always aware. Awareness is aware while you're dreaming. Awareness is aware while you're dead asleep with no dreams. It's always aware. And it's just how much of that dross, how much of the cloudy muck is in the way. Usually when we're asleep, there's more of it, right? It's a lot more covered up. But as you do these meditations, you'll notice that you accidentally lucid dream more. And then for me, it started happening first in naps, where I would take a nap and then while I was still dead asleep, because in a nap I would go dead asleep, I would notice that sometimes there was some wakefulness there, not an observer or anything, not a sense of me, but just awakeness. And then that would start happening in dreams as well. So the awareness is always there, not in like you said, the unmanifest, not just in every moment of daily life, but in every moment of life, literally 24 hours a day. So Pasachi One or Sachi One is saying, I enjoy this practice. I'm feeling a bit of peer pressure to follow more of a structured path, like the mind illuminated. What are the pros and cons of watching these YouTube meditations daily versus a TMI-like practice? Well, they're not any different. I mean, if you think this is different than TMI, then let me say that notice what Chuladasa is really teaching you in TMI. TMI, The Mind Illuminated, is a book about the practice of what? Shamatha with an object, right? Each of those stages that you walk through in The Mind Illuminated are stages of shamatha with an object. Now, in there, he's saying, as an example, meditating on the breath at the nose. That's your shamatha object. But if you look closely at the beginning of the book, he says you can actually do the whole book on any object. It does not have to be the breath at the nose. You can use any object. So in other words, that part of the book is not different than the thing I'm teaching here every week. He's just showing you in a really fine detail how it progresses, how the concentration doing shamatha with an object gets better. He's showing you the stages of that. So in other words, these are exactly the same thing until we get to shamatha without an object. And that's he actually does show you how to do that in TMI. if I'm remembering, it's page 365, something like that, 355 in the book. He describes shamatha without an object. It's the same thing. Okay. And then after that, in these meditations, I lead you into all kinds of other stuff like Vipassana and non-dual stuff, right? But this is not any less structured than TMI. In fact, reading the TMI helps you understand what we're doing here. You just have to remember that I'm allowing you to use any object as your focus object. And in TMI, they're just using as an example over and over the mind focusing on the breath at the nose, right? So it's the same thing. So enjoy that. Micah, when you brought us to have the awareness outside the body, but then encourages us to feel inside that, my awareness was confused in an interesting way. Yeah, no shit. That's why I did that. Because we've always got this sense that, this imaginary sense that the awareness is in our head, and it's not. Awareness is aware. It's not stuck in your head. So I just did that little trick to mess with that. And watch out, I might do that kind of thing all the time. David, where all that arises and passes is meant to disappear. No? Well, that's what passes means. Arises means it comes from nowhere. Passes means it goes to nowhere. It disappears. Okay? Maybe that's not what you were asking, but that's what your question actually asks. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure which database we're talking about here. In any case, this is something that I hear about a lot is, are we going to do non-dual practices or are we going to do Vipassana practices? And if we're going to do Vipassana practices, people talk about TMI. And it's funny because TMI comes from like a split lineage where the way it was, Chuladasa's teacher did it, there's like a part of it is Theravada Vipassana and part of it is this other thing that's like Mahayana Vajrayana. And the Mahayana Vajrayana part is that 9 or 10 part path, the elephant and the monkey and the monk, right? Those cool drawings describing the path of meditation with the practice of shamatha with an object. And so expand your minds here. Notice that I'm always starting the shamatha without an object. And if you want to, read TMI and notice how you are doing that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is TMI is not different than these things that lead to non-dual practices. So you can make that mix really well. If you want another book that will help you understand what we're doing here, you would get B. Alan Wallace's book called The Attention Revolution. And in The Attention Revolution, he goes through this sequence of shamatha with an object, shamatha without an object. And he kind of makes it sound impossible. He makes it sound really, really hard, like you probably have to meditate for 1,000 years, on broken glass at the top of a mountain in a cave or something. And I would say that my experience with many people is it's quite a bit easier than that. So if you read that book, it will give you a good understanding of this sequence. But you want to take with a grain of salt how hard he's making it sound. And there's so much more to say about all this, but I'll leave it there for tonight. Okay, and then we're going to switch gears as usual, and I'll just say, we'll keep it short tonight and say, hey, hey, that's all I'm going to say. Hey. Well, actually, I have more to say. If you feel like watching these videos and learning from them, do so. Do it for free. And feel free to ask questions in the comment section or give me feedback about how's it going. Hey, Katie. And if you feel like donating to San Francisco Dharma Collective and donating to me through San Francisco Dharma Collective to help make these available to people, then do that. And Katie just put a nice, where she's going to put a nice, there it is, link in the chat window where you can donate. And remember that this is the end of the year. Maybe you need a charitable donation for your tax write-offs. San Francisco Dharma Collective is a nonprofit organization, so donate to them as much as you feel like. Otherwise, don't, come and hang out and learn and meditate and enjoy. And like I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, you don't just have to do this once a week. There's so many back meditations here. Use them every day of the week to guide your practice. And remember that we are using a system here. I'm being very loose about it in a way, but I'm actually coming from this path of shamatha with an object, then shamatha without an object, and then usually some kind of non-dual vipassana, right? So we're going through a practice. That's it for tonight, folks. I see people saying thank you in the chat window. Thank you. I'm so happy you show up. I'm so happy you meditate. So happy you're getting something out of these presentations. And I invite you to come back. I don't think we'll be here, now that I just invited you back, I don't think we'll be here for a while because of Christmas. So yeah, we're going to miss a couple weeks here, I think, because the next one is Christmas Eve and the one after that is New Year's Eve. So here we are. We've been practicing for a year together. I mean, years and years, but now for the year of 2020 together. And so, whoops, no classes for the next 2 weeks, right? So if you're celebrating Christmas, if you're celebrating New Year's, if you're celebrating any other holidays for the next couple weeks, have a super happy holiday. Stay home and be safe and be healthy. Don't take any chances with your precious health so that we can spend many, many, many years meditating together. I would really like to do that with you all. So stay so happy and healthy this holiday season. And have a great time. And I'm just wishing you all tremendously, tremendously happy holidays and a beautiful new year. And I'll miss you for the next 2 weeks so much. And then guess what? What will be the next time? What will be the next time? It looks like maybe Thursday the 7th, January 7th, 2021. That's when we'll get back together. Yeah, the 7th. So I'll see you then, everybody. Have a great one, okay? And feel free to email or write something in the comments. Please keep meditating, okay? I'll see you on the 7th. Bye-bye.